What is going on, guys? This is Johnny Salmon back with another video, and I'm talking about Newell on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender series. I just finished watching the fight, and just want to talk about some of my takeaways from the fight and what I think he could do to potentially come back a little bit stronger. Spoiler warning, if you haven't seen the fight already, he did in fact lose the fight by a unanimous decision, but he gave it his all. He really did. He really acquitted himself well. He hurt his opponent Munoz a couple of times, actually, with some good front kicks, some nice leg kicks, things here and there. But for the most part, he just really couldn't find the mark, and I guess a lot of that is attributed to the fact that he does have only one full arm to work with. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's a handicap. He did almost get Munoz in a really, really good guillotine choke that appeared to be very close. So, he still has tools to work with, but I do think there are a few things to his game that need to change. For the most part, I just think he's almost too explosive, his style. He comes forward, he explodes forward with flying knees, he really marches forward before he throws his kicks, things of this nature. It kind of, it's a lot of wind up. It's a lot of energy being expended coming forward. And I think this is one of the reasons why he got tired during the fight. He was advancing, there are times he would lay back, and then there's a lot of times he would be advancing. And when he was advancing, he was throwing a lot of explosive movements. And when he was backing up, he was throwing his jab, just really trying to keep his man off him, which is not a bad tactic by any means. But there really isn't that much sting on his jab, and especially backing away, it becomes a little bit of a problem. He doesn't really have a southpaw. He stands in a southpaw stance. He won't have a left cross to really make guys just kind of back off when they pressure forward. So, a couple of the things I think he could work on is, not just training in a Muay Thai style. I'm not sure how many different styles of striking that he trains in, but from what I've seen, it seems very much Muay Thai oriented. And, a lot of guys that do MMA, they're going to swear by Muay Thai. They're going to denounce, a lot of the other things. Maybe they'll say that, guys that do karate like Stephen Thompson and, Leon Machida, these guys are very much anomalies in mixed martial arts, but I don't think that's true. I think that if he did take up karate, taekwondo, especially seeing as how he has one arm to work with, he would do well to learn a style that has a kicking focus, right? Very much a kicking focus. He can blend that with Muay Thai. I'm not saying to get rid of it, but with Muay Thai at times, it's very much plotting. It could be very plotting. It could be very obvious what your opponent's trying to do, especially with a kicking game. Unless you really are mastering the distance, which is ultimately what Newell is going to have to do, learn to master the distance. In order to really do that, marching forward with your kicks and really not being able to mask what you're doing with your kicks, it can be telegraphed. Guys are going to be expecting that, especially, with the tools he has to work with. They're expecting to throw a lot more kicks, a lot of jabs. They're not really expecting, much else from that, So he did land some good front kicks. He did land a few leg kicks, some body kicks. I do think he needs to kind of slow down with the super explosive movements. It could be the pressure of wanting to get a really good finish, but I don't think it really helped. It didn't do him any favors in the fight. But with karate, taekwondo, very much about getting in, getting out, landing your shot, getting out of the pocket before your opponent can attack. I really do think he could benefit from that particular kind of style. Learning to throw a variety of different kicks, side kicks, hook kicks, round kicks. Obviously, round kicks, everyone pretty much knows that, right? But, side kick, hook kick, if you get a little bit of more diversity in his kicking game, I think it's only going to strengthen things. And also the emphasis on moving away and landing your shots and then getting right back out. That's really what I believe he needs to do in order to accentuate his game. I also think that developing his jab, I feel like his jab is really just, like I said, to keep people at bay. But I do think he could turn that into a really, really sharp tool. If he really focuses on working that jab and making that a stinging punch, not just a range finder, he's going to need to use that as his money punch. Because essentially, he stands in southpaw, so he has a better defensive guard. If he were to stand in orthodox, he would kind of be at a disadvantage from right hands if his opponents are orthodox. So really learning how to use that jab, making a stinging punch and a distance and range finder is going to be essential. I also think some karate footwork, taekwondo footwork, things of that nature will definitely help him in terms of backing off. If he's able to back off, in southpaw and then switch to orthodox and land a counter straight right hand, he could really be devastating. This is obviously it's not something that's going to be done overnight, but I do really believe that these kind of tools would definitely help his game. I do think that he's also is a bit small for the weight class for 155. I noticed that Munoz kind of had a size advantage on him a little bit. I'm not the biggest fan of crazy weight cuts, but considering that Newell is going to be fighting guys that are much bigger and they're going to have a little bit of different tools. I mean, he has advantages in terms of chokes. Guys are going to find it hard to defend against his chokes, just because when you have the entirety of your arm, there's in guillotine chokes, certain other chokes, you're able to try and peel the person's hand away. And because he has this condition, he's able to sink in chokes even tighter than usual, and it's really hard for guys to defend. But even so, working with essentially one less hand, with guys that are bigger and have a big time wrestling credentials, you want to take every advantage you can. If you could make 145 safely, I would suggest you do that. Why not give yourself every chance in the world to get a win? He's been doing great at 155. I don't think it's impossible that he can still have success at 155, but exploring that option, it definitely should be something he should consider. But I don't want to be ragging on the guy and think, make it sound like I'm hating on him, like he has no chance at 155. I do think if he tries to implement these other techniques, really get his kicking game down, really get his distance management, under, just improve that distance management, he'll really be able to do a lot more damage. He'll really be able to control whether or not he wants to be aggressive or he wants to counter punch, and less explosion. Try and finesse your way in there. It's not going to be easy, but I do think that with a sharp jab, more kicking offense, and some more in and out movement, switching stances here and there, really giving your opponent something else to think about, I really do think he could improve from there. So if you guys agree, you can give me a like, you can subscribe. Let me know in the comments as well what you really think. Do you think it's possible for Nick Newell to improve with these skills, or do you think something else would work better instead? I'll catch you guys in the next video.